Yo, cheer up for the station that holds you down with the hottest hip-hop and R&B joints. It's Philly's Power 99 FM.
It's Philly's Power 89 with me, Cappuchino, and in with me when I say a very special guest. I mean just that. I got Mr. Barry Jenkins in here. How are you, Barry?
I'm good. It's nice to be here.
Now, first of all, I'm calling you a special guest because you are an Academy Award winner for the movie Moonlight.
That is true.
And you have this brand new movie that's coming out, If Beale Street Could Talk. And I'm hearing rumors that you guys are pretty much front runners also for more awards for this movie.
It's possible. Es posible, as they say. Es posible.
I mean, because it's already been, some of your folks have already been nominated already. How does that feel knowing that you came off an Academy win? You may be going into another Academy win. Let's talk about that right quick.
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, when you make these movies, when you tell these stories, you just hope anybody sees them. When we made Moonlight, I was hoping 3 people would see it, And so same thing. So to see the industry, the community of artists respond to our work, it's a very fulfilling thing.
Now, let's talk more about If Beale Street Could Talk, because I know it's based on a book by James Baldwin. How did you go about deciding, I want to do a screenplay based on this book?
Yeah, I always loved James Baldwin. When I was in college at Florida State, I was dating, I was like a sophomore, I was dating this girl. She was like a senior. So she was more intelligent, more attractive, more worldly. And so when she broke up with me, because she had to break up with me, she introduced me to James Baldwin. She said, you need to read James Baldwin. That was her way of saying, so I needed to grow up.
That was a goodbye note.
Exactly. It was a goodbye note. We still friends, though. Okay. And so years later, I read this book, If Beale Street Could Talk. And I saw in it the 2 voices of Baldwin. It's a romance for sure. Mr. Baldwin wrote about, love, romance, relationships between 2 people. But then he also was really pissed off about systemic injustice and the way American society and these systems we participate in can disenfranchise the lives and souls of Black folks. And in this book, those 2 voices are so organically fused that I felt like I got to tell the story.
Now, when doing this story and making it into a movie, how did you go about with getting permission from the family? Like, how was that?
Yeah, that was the tricky part, man, because typically when you adapt a novel, you get the rights first.
Right.
Otherwise you might be wasting your time. But this was at a time in my life, it was like 2013. I hadn't done anything in about 5 years. I just wanted to write. So I just went off by myself and I wrote the script. And then I came back and I was like, hey, just so y'all know, I already wrote the script. Can I have the rights to the novel? And it was a process of me spending like basically 4 years getting to know all the people in the James Baldwin estate.
Wow, okay. Now, here's the thing. I heard or read somewhere that you actually wrote the screenplay for this as you were writing for Moonlight as well.
Yeah.
How did you get the balance for that? Because these movies are so different. How did you get the balance between writing Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk?
I mean, part of it was I was just hungry. I didn't have the rights to Moonlight when I wrote that as well, but I knew Terrell, who wrote the play, so that one was going to be easier. But it was just a time in my life, man, I was hungry. I just wanted to write. And, I believe in nature versus nurture. And both these films feature these mothers who are trying to raise their children.
Okay.
And so for me, they kind of spoke to each other. If you took Regina King's character, who plays the mom in Beale Street, and made her the mom in Moonlight, if you took Naomi Harris's character, who's basically based on my mom in Moonlight, and made her the mom in Beale Street, how would that affect the lives of these 2 children? And so for me, they kind of spoke to each other, and it made the process of going back and forth between them kind of organic.
So also with If Beale Street Could Talk, the story, like you say, it's a love story, but there's also the injustice that we're going through now because you have one character who's arrested for a crime he didn't commit. I mean, looking at today's society, and when you wrote the script so many years ago, was it one of those things in your mind where it's like, you know what, I got to put this on the screen so people can recognize it and see it right in their face?
Yeah, part of it was Mr. Baldwin was an amazing writer, and he spoke the truth. And I think when you speak the truth, those things endure. They become timeless. And also, American society just hasn't progressed as much as we think it did. This book was published 45 years ago, and yet everything in this book could happen very much today. Case in point, Stephon James, who plays the main character, Fonnie, based his performance on the psychology of this young man named Khalif Browder.
Okay.
And Khalif Browder was arrested, still in the backpack.
Right.
Got backed up in the log system, spent 3 years on Rikers awaiting trial, refused to plead guilty, eventually was exonerated, but spent 2.5 years in solitary confinement, committed suicide when he got out. Had he taken a plea, he maybe would have done 8 months. But then he would have had that on his record.
Right.
He would have had a hard time getting a job. So it was, again, these systems, the same thing our character goes through in this film, published in 1974, still happening very much today.
I love it. Now, as far as the movie, If Beale Street Could Talk, let everyone know when this amazing movie is going to drop.
This movie drops in Philadelphia on Christmas Day.
Yes.
Yeah, so go ahead and get you some macaroni and cheese, some collard greens and whatnot, and then going down to the Cineplex.
And like I said, you guys are pretty much like a front runner again for another Academy and Oscar. I'm sorry, not Oscar, but Golden Globes nominated as well.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing this, because you seem so very humble when I say that, you're just like, yep.
I mean, it's just a thing, man. I mean, what happened? What all this happened with Moonlight? I had to really do a lot of work to remind myself, this is the film we made.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we win or lose doesn't change. It's still the same film we made.
Right.
Which is interesting because for 2 minutes we lost, and then they switched it,
Yeah.
and then we won. But in them 2 minutes, I had perspective, and so I just look at it all now. I mean, it's great because whenever you get nominated for something, somebody else hears about the movie, but it's not about that, man. It's about telling these stories.
And putting out your artistry and your creative works and pieces like that.
Exactly.
So after this, because I know you also wrote an episode for Dear White People on Netflix.
I did, yeah.
So how did that go? Because that's like, when you look at everything that you've done so far, they're all different type of storyline.
Yeah, it was interesting. I actually didn't write that. I directed it. Justin Simeon, who's he's my homeboy, it's his show. He called me up. He's like, hey, I want you to do this episode. And he's like, it's going to be real chill, just people walking and talking. I was like,
Okay.
cool, I can do that. And then I got the script and saw, it's the episode where everything just kind of blows up. This kid is at this party and a cop pulls a gun on him. So it was cool to get inside somebody else's head, to be honest. I'm used to writing the things I direct, but in this case, that limits me to my own experience.
Okay.
And it was nice to jump inside somebody else's experience and still get to exercise my artistic muscles.
Okay, so what's next after this? Because if you were back in 2013 writing 2 scripts, have you already finished another script and just waiting for that to come into fruition right now?
Not waiting. There's a book by Colson Whitehead called The Underground Railroad. It won the Pulitzer Prize like a year ago. It's about, when you first hear about the Underground Railroad as a kid, you think, oh, yes, trains running underground.
Yes, yeah.
So this is a fictional book about the Underground Railroad where there actually are trains running underground,
Okay.
built by black folks,
Okay.
to take us to freedom. And so we're doing that as like a 10-hour show at Amazon. So I'm writing that and casting location scouting for it right now.
Nice. Now, are you one of those directors who decide, you know what, I love my cast so much from Moonlight and from If Beale Street Could Talk? Are you picturing yourself working with these actors again and other?
See, you're gonna get me in trouble
Uh-oh.
because I actually don't. There's nobody in Moonlight and Beale Street, and nobody in my first film was in Moonlight. So
Okay.
I don't know, man. I kind of think of the movies as like their own organisms, and I don't see the actor when I'm writing the script. And so far it's been every movie is a whole new family.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. I'm just collecting all these families. And at some point we're gonna have a reunion and get everybody back together. But
Yeah.
for now, I think I'm gonna have to build another family.
Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that at all because you give other actors a chance.
Exactly.
Because you
Like-
have a new artist, Tish, the
Exactly.
character who plays Tish in this movie.
Exactly. This young girl named Kiki Lane, who's never been in a movie before.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like casting should be a meritocracy. And I gotta say, she found us. We didn't find her.
Really?
Yeah, just like you interviewing me now. When you audition for a part, you're on camera. Your homeboy or homegirl reads the lines off camera. She was helping her homeboy audition and was like, "Why am I not auditioning for this part?" But she was new in LA. She had no rep. She had no agent, no manager. So she's like, I'm gonna spend 4 weeks, get me a manager, and give a tape to Barry Jenkins. And now she's in the film. So
Nice.
yeah. And I like, as you said, giving these young people a foot in the door. Because now that girl has a career, just like all the actors in Moonlight now. Those young cats
Yes.
have a career.
Yep. Barry Jenkins stopping by. The movie If Beale Street Could Talk is going to be out on Christmas Day.
Christmas
Go
Day.
support because
Christmas Day.
Like I said, this is not an average brother. He is an Academy Award winner. Yes, and good luck on the next awards, the Oscars as well as the Golden Globes. So we're praying for you right now, man.
Oh, thank you, my dear. Much respect.
Yes, thank you so much. Barry Jenkins stopping through right here with Philly's Power in 89.
Yo, cheer up with the station that holds you down with the hottest hip hop and R&B joints. It's Philly's Power 99 FM.